So for this question, I'm going to be doing a video and I have some slides of images to kind of correlate with that. So for this one, I want to talk about the technical and visual aspect which were either symbolic or represented certain things in our opening scene. So our film would have been called Reverse, and this was key because the genre conventions of a horror film and a thriller usually have stereotypes in them to make it easier for the audience to follow and also to understand and kind of relate back to other films that they've watched. So our film was called Reverse because we wanted to reverse several of these genre conventions. For example, gender. We wanted to reverse the gender stereotypes in our film and have a female character representing a more dominant physique and dominant characteristics and kind of physique, because she's much more powerful, confident, bold, and these would normally be seen in a male character. Another genre convention that we wanted to reverse is the location of the film. So we decided to do it in a home, which obviously stereotypically would be seen as a warm, comforting place, but instead we contrasted this to it being a cold, lonely, very kind of mysterious place. So we wanted to create meaning for these, obviously, for the audience, and the meaning behind it was sort of to make this discombobulation of space, this confusion, this frustration, this stress, which builds for the characters, but now not only for the characters but for the audience. And there were some kind of examples of this, which, like I mentioned, were gender stereotypes. Here you can see the female character, that being me, in all black clothing, so quite mysterious, quite dominant in the scene, as though you would call it, because usually women were seen as being quite submissive. And so this is, and also I was always in a dark space usually, which we used lighting to kind of be symbolic and to show that the home, which is normally seen as a warm, comforting place, can be this dark and empty space. Again, this is just showing the lighting element. You can see the outside of the home, we kind of use these blue tones, dark blue tones, and this was to show that there's no escape really for the characters. And so usually the audience for genre conventions and typical conventions that they would expect that around a home to be kind of warm, friendly, this safe space. And when we kind of contrast this and manipulated this for the audience, they felt, stressed and anxious, and this just taps into what exactly we wanted to convey in our opening scene. Again, this is just showing kind of the lighting areas, some of the shots that we use to kind of replicate this stress, this such a large space shown, but kind of zoomed into the lighting, which is showing this warm orange light, which can be seen as comforting and safe, but we contrasted this with other shots which completely manipulated this. So now I want to talk about films that I have seen that really inspired me for some of the shots in our opening scene. So I wanted to compare it to kind of different characters, similar characters in other films. So this is from the film Get Out, and I absolutely loved the camera shot because I thought this is really significant, and I think the audience are immediately drawn to his eyes in this close-up. And so in our opening scene we used a lot of shots with the eyes because I think it kind of expresses the character's emotions immediately without having to see the whole of their face. So we actually have shots of Harry, the victim in the opening scene, panicked, kind of opening his eyes, this stress, and contrasted this with a shot of my eyes, the female character's eye, where it's kind of a darker eye because we've put eyeliner on, so it's creating again this kind of this shadow, which shows that there's sort of no escape for Harry. So yeah, this was Get Out, and it really inspired me for the close-ups, especially the eyes, because I feel as though his eyes really stand out in this shot. This was another one. This was from The Truman Show, and what I liked about this shot is that obviously the whole point of the film is he doesn't actually know that he's being filmed for a TV show. And so this inspired me because it allowed me to think of the idea that what if the characters in the actual film don't know that they're either being filmed, or they don't know something that's actually happening to them right in that moment, because I feel as though that gives the audience a certain power, but they are helpless because they can't actually help what's going on. So in the Truman Show, obviously he doesn't actually know what's happening, and he doesn't know that he's being filmed. And so this inspired me to, we have a shot in ours where Harry is being filmed and he's drinking, and I'm in the window, and I feel as though that gives the audience something to, it makes them more anxious, it builds the tension because they're helpless, they can't help Harry. So again, the Truman Show film inspired me.